The mainstream media has done their absolute best to save the Rings of Power. They tried to change the narrative surrounding it. They tried to attack fans. They tried to attack anybody that had something bad to say about Amazon's billion-dollar disaster. Yes, $1 billion for 2 seasons of Rings of Power, $700 million just for the first season, and that price tag is likely to go up further for season 2 than they ever expected. But now that we actually have the data, it's pretty hard to ignore some very clear truths about the Rings of Power. Disaster. Amazon's Rings of Power ratings reveals its billion-dollar show bored viewers. And this was when we started seeing these hard Nielsen streaming numbers, because House of the Dragon, its direct competition, they've been pretty open about all of the numbers associated, both with HBO Max and on HBO Direct, because again, it's simulcast. So when you see just the streaming numbers for House of the Dragon, you're only getting part of the picture. 20 to 30% of the audience watches on HBO linearly, not including the people that DVR it or watch on a second showing, something like that. But we do have enough information to see a very, very clear trend going on right now. How House of the Dragon and Rings of Power streaming viewership overlaps according to Nielsen. And they did get a lot of, man, look at this picture. This armor is just the worst thing I could possibly imagine on Galadriel, or should I say fake Galadriel at this point. But let's look at some of these interesting things here. The battle imposed upon House of the Dragon and Lord of the Rings by Hollywood may be over for now, but Nielsen's released new findings about the habits of both shows' streaming viewership throughout the respective first seasons that are sure to reignite the ratings duel. So it's things about the fact that House of the Dragon does skew a little bit younger. Lord of the Rings skews very, very old. Nearly half of the viewers of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power are over 50 years old. Maybe that's why some of this fucking activism bullshit just didn't work very well on that audience. But the chart is what really caught people's eyes, because now we do have these numbers. The blue line here is House of the Dragon. The top line here is Rings of Power. And we all remember when it first came out, people were screaming, incredible, 1,200 minutes viewed, despite the fact that it's not even the best for an Amazon production ever. They definitely tried to do everything they could to spin it like it was, but in fact, it wasn't even the top viewed Amazon thing of all time. And when you factor in that this was by far the most expensive thing they did, they were extremely disappointed internally with these types of numbers. And the problem for Amazon is that that's the best it ever got. That debut was the best it ever got for them because word of mouth wasn't that good. People continued to tune out, and it went down, 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 down. It wasn't until the last 2 episodes that it started rising up a bit, but even that finale, even all the buildup, with 8 episodes people had to binge, all these things, any excitement surrounding it, they couldn't even get back to that debut. That's because word of mouth for Rings of Power was shit in comparison to something else. Now, you can kind of throw this first week out because House of the Dragon comes out 3 hours. Like, that's all you get, 3 hours worth of data for each new episode that comes out. So you kind of have to take everything into perspective. So let's look at this one as the first full week for House of the Dragon. And it just continued to rise. Look, it started at 700. Now it's up, averaging 1,000, down a little bit, then up, climbing towards the finale. We're not really going to know what these finale numbers are until the last 2 weeks are revealed. But certainly when you factor in HBO, where it's also being played, it's dominating right now. You can add another 20 or 30% to these ratings right there, which means House of the Dragon is dominating the Rings of Power, despite the fact that it is much, much cheaper. And Variety even goes into some of these things right here. Running the weeks of October 15th through October 10th, a time period begins with House of Dragon premiere and Rings of Power finale. The below chart displays 6 times that Game of Thrones ticked up in streaming viewership. In comparison, Rings of Power dropped off in time spent viewing 4 weeks in a row before making a rise in the final 2 weeks. And although we don't have these exact numbers, we do already have this information. TV ratings. House of the Dragon finale scores big. The Game of Thrones prequel has surpassed all but 2 seasons of its predecessor in total viewers, which I have been open about this. I thought I was going to hate House of the Dragon. I thought I was going to despise this show, especially after the way Game of Thrones ended. I didn't. I was pleasantly surprised. I was ready to just shit all over it, but I couldn't because I really enjoyed it. And as time went on, I only enjoyed it more and more. I thought it was a strong season finale. Not as good as episode 8 was. That was incredible. But nevertheless, like, you can't argue with these numbers that they are putting out there. An average of 29 million people are watching each episode of House of the Dragon across all different platforms. We get these bullshit numbers from Amazon that they can never confirm with any data. Not the case when it comes to House of the Dragon. And this is just more news confirming what we said the entire time, that there was no way, with the bastardization of Tolkien's lore, with the identity politics inserted, with attacking the fan base, there was no possible way that Rings of Power was going to be able to live up to what Amazon needed it to do. They needed it to be a massive global phenomenon, unlike anything anyone had ever seen. When you spend $700 million on just 8 episodes of something, it kind of has to be that way. And it absolutely was not. And when it's all said and done, more people tuned in because they were interested in the premiere and left the show, did not come back even for the finale. And that is a big, big problem when it comes to Amazon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my PO box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.